Welcome to the summary of the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK** by Mark Manson. Let's face it, life is hard. It's messy. It's unpredictable. And no matter how positive you try to be, stuff still goes wrong. People disappoint you. Plans fall apart. Goals don't always pan out. And the pressure to be amazing all the time can feel overwhelming. That's exactly what the subtle art of not giving a FCK* is here to challenge. Mark Manson doesn't sugarcoat life. He doesn't believe in fake positivity or self-help hype. This book is for people who are tired of trying to be perfect, tired of always being told to care about more, hustle more, do more. Manson's advice? Stop giving a FCK about everything, and start giving a FCK about what really matters. Now, don't take the title the wrong way. He's not saying be careless. He's saying be selective. You only have so many FCKs to give in this life. Spend them wisely. At the heart of this book is one simple truth. You can't care about everything. If you try to make everyone happy, avoid every mistake, and impress every person, you'll burn out miserably. The real freedom comes from letting go of the noise and focusing your energy on what's actually worth your time, your effort, and your emotions. Manson starts by busting the myth that life should always feel good. It won't. Pain is part of life. Disappointment is part of growth. And trying to escape those things is what actually causes more suffering. The trick isn't to avoid pain, it's to choose the pain that's worth it. For example, getting fit? That comes with soreness, discipline, and discomfort. Building a business? That comes with risk, failure, and frustration. But if you care deeply about the result, the pain becomes meaningful. You don't resent the effort, you embrace it. That's the kind of FCK worth giving. But most people don't choose their pain. They avoid responsibility. They chase quick fixes. They scroll endlessly, compare themselves to others, and wonder why they still feel empty. Manson says it clearly. Life is about choosing your struggles. Because the quality of your life is directly tied to the quality of the problems you're willing to face. And that brings us to values, one of the most important concepts in the book. Manson argues that most people suffer not because their life is bad, but because their values are broken. If your values are built on being liked, always being right, or never failing, you're going to be anxious and insecure 24/7. Those values are fragile and totally out of your control. But when your values are real, solid, and rooted in personal responsibility, everything changes. If you value growth, honesty, creativity, or resilience, you can handle almost anything life throws at you. Because now you're not just reacting. You're living by a standard that you chose. So what does this look like in real life? It means not freaking out when someone disagrees with you. It means not tying your worth to how many likes you got. It means owning your mistakes instead of blaming others. It means giving a FCK about fewer things, but doing it with full heart and full responsibility. Now that you've started to shift your mindset, to stop wasting your energy on everything and start choosing your values wisely, it's time to face one of the most uncomfortable but freeing truths in the book. You are responsible for everything in your life, even when it's not your fault. Sounds harsh, right? But Mark Manson isn't here to make you feel cozy. He's here to help you grow. And one of the fastest ways to grow is to take full ownership of how you respond to life. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you do next. And that's where your power lies. This is where most people get stuck. They spend their lives blaming parents, bosses, partners, society, anyone but themselves. And yes, people can hurt you. Life can be unfair. But if you wait for others to fix it, you'll stay stuck. When you take responsibility, even for things that aren't your fault, you reclaim control. You stop being a victim and start becoming a force. Manson makes this clear with one powerful idea. Responsibility is not the same as blame. You may not be to blame for the accident, the breakup, or the layoff, but you're 100% responsible for how you deal with it. You're the one writing your story. And you get to decide if it's a tragedy or a comeback. That leads us into another bold truth. You're not special. And that's actually a good thing. We live in a culture that constantly tells you you're unique, amazing, destined for greatness. But Manson says this belief quietly creates anxiety. Why? Because if you believe you're supposed to be extraordinary, every normal moment feels like failure. Every boring day feels like you're wasting your potential. The truth? Most of life is ordinary. Most people are average. And that's okay. You don't need to be a billionaire, a genius, or a celebrity to be fulfilled. In fact, accepting your ordinariness frees you from the constant pressure to prove something. You stop chasing attention. You stop performing. You just live, authentically, honestly, and without pretending. Manson flips the script on what matters. He says it's not about avoiding struggle. It's about choosing the right struggle. It's not about being extraordinary. It's about doing the ordinary things well. Like showing up, owning your choices, facing your fears, being honest when it's hard. That brings us to the next big idea. Failure is the path forward. We've been taught to fear failure, to avoid it, hide it, or turn it into a branding story. But Manson says failure is how we grow. If you're not failing, you're not trying. If you avoid risk, you avoid life. You can't build strength, skill, or self-respect without facing discomfort and falling short along the way. And here's where things get practical. If something matters to you, lean into the pain of it. Want to be a writer? Get ready for rejection. Want a great relationship? Get ready for uncomfortable conversations. Want to build a business? Get ready to look stupid. That's the cost. But it's also the way through. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. The more you fail, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the less you care about shallow things that used to drain you. By now, you've learned that trying to care about everything is exhausting, that responsibility gives you freedom, and that failure isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of growth. But Mark Manson doesn't stop there. He takes it even deeper, challenging the core fears we all carry but rarely confront. Let's start with certainty, or rather, the illusion of it. Most people walk through life desperately clinging to certainty. We want to be right. We want guarantees. We want to know for sure that we're making the right decision, that our beliefs are true, that we're on the right path. But Manson says this obsession with being certain is what makes us insecure, defensive, and disconnected. Why? Because certainty is fragile, and life is uncertain by nature. He flips the script. Doubt is strength. Being honest about what you don't know, being curious instead of confident, being flexible instead of rigid. These are the signs of emotional maturity. Manson argues that the people who make the best decisions aren't the ones who are always sure, they're the ones who are willing to be wrong, to question their own thinking, to adjust when new evidence comes in. This mindset shift isn't easy, but it's freeing. Think about it. If you don't have to always be right, you don't have to defend your ego. You can have better conversations. You can grow faster. You can drop the pressure to prove yourself and focus instead on learning, adapting, and evolving. That leads into one of the most powerful and uncomfortable ideas in the book: confronting death. Yep, Manson goes there. He says a huge part of why we waste energy on shallow stuff is because we're avoiding thinking about the only guarantee in life: we're going to die. We distract ourselves with drama, goals, achievements, social media, all so we don't have to face the fact that our time is limited. But here's the twist: facing your mortality doesn't make life scarier, it makes it clearer. When you remember that you won't be here forever, you stop sweating the small stuff. You stop giving a f***ck about meaningless arguments, shallow approval, or impressing strangers. You start living now with urgency, honesty, and purpose. Manson tells a personal story of a friend who passed away suddenly, and how that moment forced him to question everything. Why was he chasing status? Why was he afraid to take risks? Why was he waiting to live the life he really wanted? These are the kinds of wake-up calls we usually ignore. But they matter. Because once you face death, you stop wasting your F***ck's. You get real about what matters. And here's something counterintuitive Manson teaches. Sometimes letting go of things is more powerful than chasing them. Let go of being right all the time. Let go of being liked by everyone. Let go of needing to be happy every moment. Because it's in letting go that you finally gain peace. So what's the message here? Stop chasing control. Stop demanding certainty. Stop fearing discomfort and death. Instead, lean into truth. Be honest about what you don't know. Let the fear of wasting your life push you to actually live it, without apology, without distraction, and without giving your energy to things that don't deserve it. So, we've talked about letting go of fake positivity, choosing better values, embracing failure, taking responsibility, and even facing death. It sounds heavy, and it is. But it's also liberating. Because at the heart of Mark Manson's message is this: you don't have to do it all. You just have to choose what matters. And the final part of the book is about doing just that. Manson says that happiness doesn't come from always feeling good. It comes from having values that matter, values rooted in truth, effort, and resilience. If your values are based on control, status, or being seen as successful, you'll always feel anxious. Because those things are unstable, external, and mostly out of your control. But when you value things like growth, honesty, responsibility, and love, you start to feel grounded. You're no longer chasing highs. You're creating meaning, even in the lows. Here's a truth most people avoid: life is full of pain. You don't get to avoid that. But you do get to choose your struggles. You can struggle to impress people, or struggle to build something real. You can struggle with perfectionism, or struggle through the mess of actual growth. Either way, life is going to be hard. The question is, what's worth the hardship? Manson argues that our culture is obsessed with freedom, but we misunderstand it. We think freedom is about doing whatever we want. But real freedom is about choosing the right limitations, saying no to things that don't serve you, creating boundaries, committing to something meaningful even when it's tough. And guess what? The more you commit to the right limitations, the more peace you feel. You're not scattered. You're not desperate for approval. You're focused, clear, aligned. This is where the book's message comes full circle. You don't need more tips. You need fewer distractions. You don't need to care more. You need to care better. That's what Manson means by the subtle art. It's not about caring less, it's about being selective and intentional with your energy, your time, your love, your fight. You stop giving a FCK about looking perfect, and start giving a FCK about becoming whole. You stop giving a FCK about what others think, and start giving a FCK about what you believe. You stop giving a FCK about chasing everything, and start giving a FCK about something. The real win? You no longer live in fear. Because once you stop giving your energy to everything that doesn't matter, you finally have the space to give your best to the things that do. So, what's the takeaway from the book? You're going to face pain. You're going to face uncertainty. You're going to die. That's the deal. But in the middle of that mess, you can build something honest. You can create peace. Not because life is easy, but because you've decided what truly deserves your attention. That's the subtle art. And it's the only kind of art worth mastering.